We're at Canworks, and I'm here with Marshall. Marshall is the founder of Canworks. Why don't you give us a quick little 10-second, 20-second blurb of like, what is Canworks?
Yeah, Canworks is one of the first in the world to digitally print directly onto beverage cans. So as an alternative to what was shrink sleeves or pressure-sensitive sticker labels onto cans, we take silver aluminum cans, run them through a large-scale digital printer, use inkjet technology, very similar like an office printer on an industrial scale, and print the design directly onto the can.
We're here because, if you can't tell, I'm holding RITA. Some of you might be familiar with our lime agave flavor, but we have a brand new flavor coming out. It is a watermelon sandia flavor, and of course both cans were produced, labeled, manufactured here in Austin, Texas, which is a really cool little feature. So I want to talk a little bit about that as well, because I think it's really remarkable. One, just the access that Austin is a huge CPG town. From my observation, Austin has a lot of sparkling water brands. A lot of sparkling water brands are made in Austin. There's obviously a lot of local craft brewers, different other type of alcoholic beverages, but there's a huge market opportunity right now for cannabis low-dose seltzers. And so you guys are printing our cans, but you're also printing a lot of other people's cans. And so I just thought it was really cool that a lot of these cans are being printed right here in Austin, Texas. So I want to talk about that a little bit too from your perspective.
Yeah, for sure. I wouldn't say it came like totally out of left field. It didn't turn on overnight. So we started this business, started printing cans, I should say, in August of 2021. So a little less than 3 years old, not a very old company, but it's grown rapidly. And so now we're in, Austin and San Diego and Atlanta, same things, wash, rinse, repeat, but closer to our end users. And we've just seen this explosion. Admittedly, my brother Ryan and I started this business. He's my co-founder. He lives out in San Diego, manages that location. We're craft beer guys, like as fans. So that's what we came at this like, oh, every craft, our customer base will be 100% craft beer probably, because we just didn't understand the rest of the beverage space. And fast forward into now, we started doing whatever, coffee, teas, kombuchas, energy drinks, whatever.
Put in a can.
Anything you can put in a can, right? Dog treats, in fact. And so we've had some really random stuff come along, but I would say it was about 2 years ago, probably, like, what was it, mid 2022, when we started to just kind of get our first inquiries from these low-dose and hemp-derived and all that good stuff. And so it was like, this is interesting. As someone who's, who partakes, for me, it was like, this is kind of interesting stuff as a consumer. And I'll say it snowballed very quickly, like in a good way. And so I think the technology that we have really catered to it. You can speak to this better than I can, but there's the regulatory implications that require changes often. There's the just wanting to, tweak your label from an artwork perspective. All of these things play well for digital, so naturally we were the first stop. From there, we started to get a better understanding that, okay, different labels for different states. Those different labels for different states also change each run. So for us, it became I think we were kind of on the forefront of it because we had the technology that could handle it and allowed for that, and basically provided for that flexibility that was required.
No, that's very cool. I think you're spot on with just the kind of market timing of everything, as well as the flexibility. Our industry, as most of the people who are maybe operators, but especially like consumers, I feel like they're seeing these media headlines constantly, whether it's pro or con for the industry, of just like, this is changing and this law is updating, and you have to be very responsive as a brand. And so that's why I think that y'all are also finding success on your end, because as brands, we need the flexibility for being able to work with different operators that can accommodate the changes that our industry is kind of putting on us. And I wanted to go into a little bit too, just because I think it's so fascinating. I mean, for me, this is really cool because I did our brand design for this can. And so I don't know how many other operators whose cans you're producing, and we'll do a little bit of cut around the rest of their manufacturing facility here in Austin, but I'm staring behind you is just all these cans on the wall. And I'm assuming some of them are maybe not made by the owner, they're made by the designer or some outsourced, agency. But like for me, this was on Canva. I don't even know if I should say that I made my designs on Canva, but made my designs on Canva. As long as
it came to us in a PDF, that's all we care.
Yeah, I mean, like figured it out. And so it's cool to see something that I made on my computer, literally printed. I mean, I guess in that mindset, it's not wild because you're printing things. So just thinking of it as just like a different type of medium that you're printing on. But literally, I made these designs on my computer and now I'm holding them in can form. It's just really remarkable.
Yeah, and the artwork is something I think that's pretty, it's cool, it's inspiring, it's fun. Like every day, it's nice to like walk in the warehouse and just be like, wow, that's amazing. There's so many talented people. It can be, we get everything here, it's from high-end expensive agencies legacy branding stuff down to someone's mother-in-law did it, like it's across the, exactly. It's across the board. And so, but there's so many talented people, and there's also just so much technology now that allows for some really, kind of allows anyone to play with it a little bit, my daughter turned 3 2 weeks ago, and we did a Frozen can for her birthday. You know what I mean?
Okay,
she loves Frozen.
Fun.
Yeah, exactly. So it's little things like that. Hopefully don't get sued by Frozen. But with that being said, it kind of allows anyone to now design their can. And I don't mean that in a negative connotation. It's like you don't have to go and pay for some crazy expensive agency now for your one-off lager release that you're not going to do again and ever. So for these craft breweries who are constantly, in particular, like craft breweries are constantly having to innovate, put out new stuff. And a lot of it's one time or at least once a year, and it's small run stuff. So for them to go pay an agency for that, whereas you may stick with this this design for a long time, they're just like, this is just a one-off thing. I don't want to go pay X thousands of dollars for this one-off. It's really good technology for that. And again, I think that one thing I want to touch on, because I think it plays well into the conversations we've had with a lot of people in this space, and that's sustainability. It's kind of goes hand in hand with the personalities that are in this space. And for us to be able to, shrink sleeves, essentially render cans unrecyclable. Pressure sensitive labels, you've got the tons of the backing that's coming off from peeling off a sticker, if you will. And this allows the can to be fully recycled. All goes into the, as long as it goes in the recycling bucket, then it's going to get recycled. And so that's where I think that it's kind of this industry in particular, the low dose hemp derived, they definitely have very much of a sustainability mindset. Absolutely. So it's played well into that.
Yeah, no, that's very cool. I think another thing too, which we'll clip in some of the B-roll of just like our new RITA cans being printed, but it's so fast. Like it's remarkable, the process of the cans come in blank, the colors, I mean, just the vibrancy of the colors that are being printed. I can't even fathom like the process. Like it's so fast. Like you see the cans going in blank and then they're in this machine and there's obviously, they're printing different colors and then curing it, but they come out pretty quickly and there's no smearing. I mean, I can touch it. It's remarkable. And then you're palletizing them and then they're off to go be filled at our, processing and manufacturing facility for the actual ingredients in the can. But I want to talk a little bit about just the timing, I guess, and understanding some of it's like proprietary too. So like feel free to discuss to the extent that you want to discuss, but just printing on the cans and how long it takes to print on the cans and kind of how it is so sophisticated it can print on something. And
it's really fascinating technology if you think about it. And it's this group behind me here is the reason that we can get these cans out on time. I can barely operate these printers anymore. In fact, I don't think they'd let me touch one. But with that being said, it's really interesting technology. It's almost hard to believe. But these cans are going on, in this current shape, right?
Yeah.
We're not printing on flat aluminum.
No, that's the crazy part.
And so these cans spin 7 times under each color, CMYK plus white plus varnish, and millions of little dots are making up the image that you see here. So it's just millions of, and you put it under a microscope and you can see the little dots individually on there. And that's what your eye is seeing is a combination of CMYK essentially. And so the can is spinning 7 times at high speeds, millions of little ink dots are landing on that can, creating these images, and we're doing it at 100 cans per minute. And these cans are passing through at super high speed. So it's German engineering at its finest. Of course, it's been a huge lift in understanding this technology. It's not something that you plug in the wall and off you go. It's very finicky, very difficult technology to understand and master. But again, we've got the best team in the industry and we're proud of what they built. And we're still learning. I mean, we had some learnings last week that were pretty significant. They did. And that stuff happens like once a week now. It's still understanding this really, really intense high-tech technology that's hard to master. But once you do, it's obviously like it's been a game changer. And so that's been something that we've had to deal with too, is that the adoption rate this spring has just gone insane. It went from, we were always pretty busy to like, oh boy, we're way too busy because we run 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at all locations essentially. And so the transition has happened. It's come to digital now. It's been good. The technology is there. It's not like an HP printer. We can't just go buy 20 of them though. They're expensive and they're hard to install and all that good stuff. We're improving the technology as much as we can. We're getting more of installed and in place at different locations closer to the end users. But I still think that there's some advancement to make it even better.
Yeah, I was going to ask like kind of what is the future of it, but it sounds like there's just always like little tweaks that are constantly kind of evolving and advancing. Maybe.
That's exactly.
But
I mean, we're printing on the can. The cans are there. They're they look great. But it's just small. I think there's some additional tweaks in the future that we could implement. I don't know. It may matter more to us than the actual end user. That's how manufacturing kind of is. It's like how do we become more efficient? But I think that considering it's relatively new and it's still kind of in its infancy in terms of being 5 years old, it's doing a pretty good job. Yeah.
Obviously, you mentioned you've got other locations. I am curious though, just because of my earlier comment, just observing. I mean, I'm born and raised in Austin. I've been around in the CPG space. I mean, canned beverages, like you were mentioning, whether it's alcohol, whether it's coffee, whether it's sparkling water. There's just a lot of brands that are coming out of Austin, but I also acknowledge and notice that you guys are producing cans for a lot of brands not in Austin. So kind of a twofold question. Obviously, you mentioned that you've expanded, you've got other facilities in other states, but how much of your business like in Austin is Austin or Texas brands versus other brands kind of finding you guys? Like, I'm just curious about that, because to me, it's just so fun and remarkable, especially as a cannabis operator. I'm coming in your facility and seeing so many other cannabis brands. I'm like, oh my gosh, those are like my friends' cans. Or those are other brands, that I recognize on shelves. And so it's fun to see that you guys are doing this for our industry, and maybe people aren't really aware that a lot of the cans you buy, whether you're buying a RITA or you're buying someone else's cannabis beverage, they're more highly likely being printed right here in Austin, Texas at Canworks.
Probably so, yeah. And we do, for the record, we do print, because we have the San Diego location. Not a lot is actually produced for this space in San Diego. A lot of it, as probably is going to the upper Midwest, the East Coast. Obviously, some of it's staying here in Texas, of course, as well. But we actually do produce most of the cans kind of by chance for us. Like, it wasn't a conscious decision, but it's just where they come out of in the closest shipping lane. Since we started this in August of 21, so our first location was Austin. We're from Texas, went to UT. My brother and I both are. Even though he moved back out to California, we keep a very close thumb on what's going on here. And so, we work with obviously all the local craft breweries for the most part. But what we've seen here just in the last, call it 3 years, has been an explosion in not only brands that are from Austin, meaning the founders here, but there's nothing really actually being produced here. But now things are actually being produced in town, quite a bit outside of the beer space. And so we've seen that, there's more co-packers coming online in town. That number has just skyrocketed. Beer has remained steady here. Obviously, we work with the Pine House and the Beer Works and 512s of the world. They're awesome.
It's really cool.
Yeah. So
like iconic brands in Austin.
Exactly.
So again, like coming here and seeing it, I'm like, I recognize so many brands. Like,
exactly.
How fun that my can is being printed in the same place that all these other brands that I look up to and respect are also working with. So
I lived in Houston for 10 years. So the Eureka Heights and Eighth Wonder, all those folks, like I used to go drink beer there all the time. Now we're making cans for them. It's kind of a strange world. Send a lot to Dallas and then all over Texas. So a decent portion of our business does stay in Texas. I am surprised at how much we've shipped out of state over the years. I think that's been attributable to like our quality, ability to get things out on time, customer service, all that good stuff. But it's not something I chalked up to like what we'd be doing. Like, I didn't forecast that, but it's been great. So we're sending cans from Maine to Washington State to Florida, all over the country.
Very cool. Any international?
Let's see. We have shipped cans to Mexico and Canada for sure. Had some inquiries for further out, and quite frankly, been like, "You're really sure you want to pay the freight on that?" Yeah, exactly. So Mexico, Canada for sure, but nothing beyond that.
No, that's cool. I guess as a Austinite with a brand, it's one of those things. I think sometimes it's like, oh, I got to go to this other state or I got to go to this other city to like have these things produced, and like no, like the industry and economy is like all here in Austin.
You can definitely take care of it in Austin, Texas at this point.
That's very cool.
And Texas is a large. We're same with Dallas. Like I said, Dallas, Houston. All over the state, we're seeing things pop up. That's encouraging. I love Austin first, but I'm also Texan, so I'm proud to see
popping up all over.
Yeah, we're shipping cans, a lot of cans all over the state, and a lot of what's produced here stays here, so that's great. I just say, like, you see this, how busy it is around us right now. Like, the team around me is what built, around us is what built this business. We have 70 plus or minus employees, and they are all working. We run 24 hours a day, so it's a tough business, 24-hour manufacturing. But I think it's encouraging when you come in and you see all these brands, the artwork. It's really inspiring, and it's also a bunch of stuff that we like to drink. So we're doing something pretty fun. So anyways, we're glad to be working with as many of the folks in the cannabis space as we are. I think it's a business it's something that's here for a long time. It's something I personally enjoy. And so it's, I think couldn't be a better group of people that we're working with, and glad to be a part of it.
Yeah, thank you. We're super honored, super grateful, and stay tuned. I don't know when this video is going to come out and when we're actually going to have the cans filled. We are working with our manufacturer to get them filled, hopefully sometime in the next couple of weeks. We're working on a little summer launch for, watermelon, July, hot Texas.
Watermelon in Texas, 110-degree day.
Hand in hand. But thanks so much, Marshall. Really appreciate the opportunity to have our cans be printed with you guys. And like I said, love seeing this happen in our backyard, and very excited for our cans to hit the shelf. So we'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.